Okay, so last week we talked about photography with Clint Saunders. This week we are talking about community partners and fundraising, and then we're also joined by Kristine from the North Dakota Department of Agriculture, who's going to tell us a little bit about the new North Dakota local foods map. And then I have some other things to go over for the rest of the class as well. Next week, we're not meeting online, but you are expected to still attend your markets if they're going on that weekend. Like a normal week, it's just that Monday you have the day off. For the homework here, I have a market frequently asked questions document. This is just a resource that I found to be very helpful. So not necessarily topic related, but something that you can look through during your time off. I can pull it up quickly. It has a lot of good stuff about market growth and outreach and evaluation. And so we'll be kind of moving into that after the Labor Day weekend. So this would be some good stuff to kind of just get yourself acquainted with. And then the week of September 13th, I'm super excited. We're going to be doing a session about cooking demonstrations at your market. We're going to have Karen and Dwayne Aarons who do cooking demonstrations at farmers markets. They teach classes, they do online ones as well. And it'll be super fun. I think it'll be a really great class. And before that class, I have a couple videos here. These are from Red River Market, and these are just about the cooking demonstrations that they do at their market. And then last year during the pandemic, they did some online versions of that as well. So 2 quick videos. Those are, I think, less than 10 minutes each. And then this week of September 20th, we're going to be going over evaluating your market, and I'll be linking some more stuff here as we get closer. Just some things to get you started doing evaluations of your market, what can change, what can improve. And then that last week, we'll be writing those up into kind of a summary of everything you've learned over the program and something that you could give to your market managers so they can keep that with them for the future. And that wraps up our program. And I know some of you are going to be staying on after the program ends. So that last week of September is our last class. And then I will just have you guys, if you're going to stay on with your market, I'll have a weekly Zoom check-in that will be like 15-20 minutes. Not topic focused, just like a chance for us to connect with each other, see where we're at, if there's any issues coming up, that sort of thing. But the formal curriculum wraps up at the end of September. And the portal will still be live, so I will expect you guys to keep doing experience reports and time sheets so that we can pay you. But other than that, the rest of the program will kind of be done. So it went by really quickly. I want to thank you guys for all being so great this year. Any questions on program related stuff before we move on? All right. Well, that's everything I have. And I will go ahead and let you take it from here, Kristine. And you should be able to share your screen if you need to, but let me know if you have any issues.
Perfect. I apologize. I looked down and I just realized I didn't have my camera on mute while you were speaking. So hopefully there wasn't any background noise that was coming, but my dog's behind me somewhere and he's like asleep. So at least he wasn't barking. See here, as she said, I'm Kristine. I work with the North Dakota Department of Agriculture. I am their local foods marketing specialist. And basically, we kind of specialize just in everything local foods throughout the state. We oversee our food safety modification, the FSMA program, the Food Safety Modernization Associations program. Anyway, we oversee that, and we work with like private agencies. We assist in like marketing. We get companies ready to join up for like Pride of Dakota that are on the farmers market level, kind of recruit them there. And then with that, we work with like obviously our specialty crop grants that come down from like the federal level and assist with that. So But why they wanted me to come and visit with you tonight, back in July when I started, I'm very new to my position. I just started this past July. I had visited with Felicity and Stephanie about having them just assist in spreading the word about our local foods map, which is, well, it's been in existence since 2018, but we just recently updated it. Basically, it's like an interactive database that catalogs all local producers, markets, CSAs, farm stands, U-Picks from across the state. The tool connects customers to local producers and allows users to like log in and search for a specific business, market, product, and then they can like search for the location and find the producer that makes this product closest to them. Let's see if I can share my screen here. It's pretty simplistic, really user friendly for any customer, but like, let's say you were looking for honey, just type it in, and then it will pull up the honey vendors from across the state. Obviously, there's way more than we have on our map so far, so that's kind of what we're using your help to get more names on the map. But yeah, so you find a honey vendor, whatever you're looking for, and then you can pull it up. And then it will usually have just a little bit of info about the business. All the profiles are managed by the businesses themselves. So it's kind of unique to however much you want to share about your business on here. We do allow you to like add photos and let's see, just add links to your websites, whatever you really want to do. So it's kind of nice because you really can kind of hone in on sharing as much in business information as you want. Let's see here. You can see this profile has Williston Downtowners Farmers Market because that's the market that they participate in. So if you're a producer and you participate in a specific market, you can link yourself to that market. So then a customer like me that would live in, like if I lived in the Williston area, could just stop by that farmer's market on Saturday and hopefully catch them instead of contacting the producer directly. So that makes it kind of nice because we do have some producers that aren't so keen about like sharing their personal information, like their email and their phone number and stuff like that with just random people that are finding them online and wanting to buy from them. So we give them that option to not share all that. But yeah, it will show the products that you sell, will show the vendors. Well, this one's the farmers market. So these are the only 3 vendors from that Williston farmers market that we have on the map. So have you guys been up to Williston and check that market out? I know they send you to all sorts of them.
Yeah, we don't have anyone in the Williston area right now,
Okay.
so.
Okay. That's the one that you didn't have. But yeah, I know that there's quite a few that are out there. So basically, we are really trying to just recruit as many producers as we possibly can on here. Not only is it a real benefit to the producer because it helps them get connected with customers and expand their business, and it puts them in our radar. So then when we have events, like perfect example is next week, we're hosting our Farmers and Artisan Market Day at the Capitol. When we have events like that, I use this to kind of recruit some fresh meat kind of for just vendors that we want there. So that's good for them because they're on our radar for events that we're having. And then like I think on the government side, aside from that, we want to know how many are in our state because it affects federal funding that we receive. So the more that we have a better understanding and grasp of this, the better that we're going to have for chances to hopefully get federal funding that will benefit them. And we do have grants that come down that directly benefit these local producers and people that want to start up businesses. They actually just closed this past month, but we had orchard grants that were available for people to apply for. And I mean, if you're a local producer and or you're super into canning, I mean, I would love to have an orchard in my backyard so I could can. It's stuff like that we're we really, really want to recruit that so we have accurate data and that kind of stuff. And just so we can assess the need. When we look at things like food safety and working with colleges and things like that, we want to know how many producers we have of what so we can better assist you and prepare you for being a successful business when you're out there. Let's see. I guess the only other thing I really have to say, and then I'll open it up for questions, is Felicity and Stephanie and whoever else has been like helping out with social media and stuff like that. I have been absolutely thrilled to death anytime I have seen anything come across your farms page. So thank you
Yeah.
for that. You guys are definitely helping bridge that gap because I used to be, well, I still am. I'm a producer myself, and I do understand there is definitely a gap between being a local producer and like government. And I think a lot of producers are just terrified that like the government is going to shut them down or be up in their business on what they're doing and how they're processing. And the reality is we don't want any of this data. We're not looking to shut anybody down. We have good intentions. We want to like grow and help you get the best opportunities you possibly can. So I think that's it. Does anybody have any questions?
Would you be willing to talk a little bit about like, so the market managers or interns at markets who are working with vendors, like, have you found like successful ways to kind of talk to producers and explain to them that this is a benefit? Like maybe they have a Facebook page or a website and they like don't see the benefit of going through the work to fill out the map. Like, have you found things that are helpful to tell people to kind of get them on board?
I have definitely been kind of racking my brain, and I've tried several different things already to kind of try and spread the word. I think, let's see here. I know I've been trying to like regularly promote it, so it looks like it's another avenue for a lot of similar things like your pages or like any of the markets pages that are highlighting local producers so they kind of see that like um, we're going to promote you as well as those other avenues. So that's definitely something I've tried doing. I've gone out to markets myself and I've handed like physical marketing materials that like I designed and printed out. So we've tried that. I actually mailed out several pieces of it to like the markets and stuff like that already. So those have been like floating around. But I'm trying to think of anything else that we've done aside from like just kind of try to spread the word that way, talk to market managers. That's been the big push.
I was just wondering if there were any other websites that this would link to for the regular customer that they would actually come across it unless we linked it on our sites or anything.
Not really. You have to add your own website in there. So it is like we have a full page dedicated on the Department of Agriculture's website, but not at this point in time. So you would have to create a profile and then like add your website that you want linked on there or your social media pages.
Okay, so when you are talking to people about this map, what are the questions that are there any questions that come up regularly?
Not too often.
Okay.
They kind of listen and they ask, and I think the other side of it too, and I think I definitely have experienced this in other avenues too, just like events that we put on, stuff like that. I've noticed that a lot of farmers market vendors tend to see themselves, well, not all of them, I guess that's not, or like a lot of them, but I would say there's definitely a group of them that we deal with that don't see themselves as really a business quite yet. It's more like, oh, this is my hobby, or, oh, we love to garden and we have extra produce. So every year we sign up for the farmers market, and they don't necessarily see it as a business that could really turn into something. And I think that's kind of a challenge. The other side of it too is this local foods map. I should have probably stressed this earlier. A lot of other stuff requires you to have that trademark business name. This does not. So, I mean, if you want to just put your name in there as like just a producer that sells at the market, you don't need like a fancy business name. You don't need a website. You don't need really anything to be on here. So you just want to put yourself as a market vendor for like the biz market. That's just fine to have your name on there as that. So it really doesn't matter like how big or small your operation is. If you're selling, we want your name on there so we know. So
If we put something like this on there for our market, should we get permission from each vendor before we put their stuff on there? If we listed all of our vendors on there?
I would recommend that for sure. But let's see here. Let me pull up one of the markets. Sorry, you guys, I'm just using them as an example because I just visited with Claire not that long ago about, yeah, she clearly does not have all of that on there. She actually contacted me and told me that there were a couple of vendors that were listed under there that like are no longer producing or connected with Biz Market. So that's what she called for. But yeah, I would definitely recommend that. That would be awesome if you could just ask for permission and put their names in there. And the other thing is they don't necessarily have to log in and create a profile themselves. If you got their permission and you got me a phone number that I could contact them, I would be more than happy to give them a call and fill this profile out for them myself. I'd be happy to do that as long as we get that like consent and that they know what they're signing up for. I do know that there's also like kind of a gap with some of the market vendors with technology, and they might not want to waste their time even trying to do something like this. So I am happy to do it for them.
And I think, so this vendor list is populated from the producer. So like for your farmers market profile, you don't necessarily have to go in and list every single vendor if you can get your vendors to sign up themselves.
Right. Yep.
Right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Which I think would, oh, sorry.
No. I was just gonna say really quick, if they go on and they sign up for themselves, it will automatically ask you if you participate in any market, and then it will pop up with markets throughout the state. So kind of nice.
Yeah, so I think for the farmers market side, like, yeah, just trying to make sure, like I see at Biz Market, they have their website up here, they have their Facebook and their Instagram, and then like a little, some information about it. So I feel like trying to keep that up to date so that if your producers do want to make a profile, it's not linking to market information that isn't like valid anymore. Oh, sorry. I have one more question.
No, go for it.
So how do you sign up for the map? Like how would a producer do it? Like where do they go?
Let's go back to the home page here and start fresh. Okay. Right over the top. So there is this little person icon up here in the upper right corner. They'll go to the local foods map page, and they can get there through our website because this is kind of convoluted. It's easier to just go to the website and type in local foods map or just Google it. But it will come here. And basically it uses your North Dakota login. So whatever you have for the tax department, the Secretary of State's office, just anything that you've done dealing with the state, you'll enter in your username and password. Let's see, yeah. Guys are gonna make me think here. It's all saved at work. Let's see here. So then up in this corner, mine's gonna look different than theirs would, but once you're logged in, it will give you the option to add up in that corner again. So mine looks a little different, but yeah. So just come back up to that person icon to do everything. And there is actually a page that I created, oops, and then I just closed it, on our website that will give instructions that kind of walks you through the process. So it would be our local foods map page, and then here's our sign up instructions. And then it kind of walks you through like viewing the map, and kind of before they create a profile, this would kind of give them a good idea of what it would look like. So
Yeah, if you guys have any questions on this, yeah, you can let me know, or you can contact Kristine. They have, it looks like you guys have a lot of resources up about how, like, kind of walking you through getting started on it. But I think like the best thing is to just keep telling people about it. And it's, I feel like the best thing about the map is like also the hardest thing about the map, in that it's really driven by the people, the producers. So it's awesome because they can update and change whatever they want. They don't have to like wait for someone else to put it in. Like they can just go in and put in their information. But then that also makes it really hard because you're relying on a lot of people and to do that, and some people don't enjoy it. So I'm just, yeah, I'm glad you were here to tell us a little bit about the project. I think it's really cool. So I'm excited to see it kind of take shape and grow and get more people.
yeah, I hope it does. I mean, it is definitely new. We just officially launched it and like sent out like the press release a couple weeks ago about it. So before, when I first started talking to you about this, that was kind of all pre, the map is like a legitimate, easy to use thing. They were still working out some bugs. So, but it is very, very cool. And I do know it works. I've heard producers tell me that they have received orders off of this, which you wouldn't think anybody would even know it exists, but a lot of people really did use our 2018 map. So I think this one's even better and more easy to use.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. And again, if you guys have questions at any time, yeah, I'll be happy to answer them.
I was wondering if you had like a handout or thing that we could like give vendors beforehand so we could kind of like quickly explain it, because there isn't exactly a lot of like time to go through all of that during the market. Or should I just kind of like summarize it and like give them the link and stuff on a printed sheet of paper?
Felicity, if there's a list of people maybe you want me to mail some handouts to, or possibly I can send a digital copy of like the handout that we are in the process of getting printed. That should be done by the end of the week, hopefully. So if you want to just send me some emails or a mailing address that I could send out to your interns, that would be great.
Yeah, I can, if your markets are interested, let me know, and then yeah, I can connect you with Kristine so that you can get those to your market. And then yeah, I can post a digital copy in our intern learning portal so that we have it there if markets want to use that or reference it. So I can do that as well. All right, well, I am going to kind of move on to some more stuff. Kristine, you're welcome to hang out if you want to, but no pressure if you wanted to head out. So I am going to move into actually a similar thing. I'm going to be talking about, let me share my screen really quick. Another thing that doesn't sound super exciting, but it's this, the USDA Farmers Market Directory. So while we're on the topic of getting our information into the system, it helps you be discovered. It helps just for record keeping, and if opportunities come up to just kind of keep your market on this list as well. So I linked it here, and this is probably going to be something that the market manager will have to do, but just something that you can maybe advocate for, let them know, send them this. This is supposed to be a comprehensive list of farmers markets, and so I linked to the update page, and so like we can look specifically in North Dakota, and this comes up and we have 4 markets, and there are more than 4 markets represented here tonight, and there are definitely more than 4 in the state of North Dakota. So this is just another thing to help connect you with other, other people. So we have Botno Farmers Market here, and I believe we can here pull it up, and this may or may not be up to date. I think most of this is up to date. So yeah, you can just write in some quick information. It's a similar database that is helpful for you to keep updated. Yeah, and I think the BizMarket one is also pretty up to date, and you can put in some of this information as well. And so that's just another thing for you guys to keep on your list. I have that linked in the portal. There was one more resource. Let me find it really quick. I should ask if anyone has questions at all, right? So the other section of tonight's class is about community partners and fundraising. So I first off want to have everyone talk about some people that they partner with their markets, and then also maybe someone that you would like to start a partnership with that you haven't, or maybe hearing other people's what they're doing at their market will help as well. So I am just going to go ahead and start calling on people. I will start with Jenna, and if you want to just talk about quickly summarize who are some of the community organizations or other groups that you guys partner with.
Yeah, so BizMarket works with Bismarck Parks and Recs. So Claire Lostetter, she's actually the North Dakota or the local foods coordinator, and so she actually runs BizMarket now. So she's like new to that position. So we work with Bismarck Parks and Rec really closely. We work with the Dakota West Arts Council. They usually sponsor our musicians that come and play, so we work with them a lot. And because of where we're located, we're right next to the municipal ballpark, so we partner with the Bismarck Larks a lot as well. As far as like people who I'd hope to partner with, I guess there's a lot of organizations that I think would be a good idea to partner with in the future. Like, for example, like our kids market, it would be a good idea to partner with like the local Boys and Girl Scouts and, kind of stuff like that. And so.
Okay, thank you. Karen.
I only know that we have Minot Parks and Recs. We don't partner with a whole lot. Just having that visa come was our first sponsorship that we've had. Unless Elizabeth wants to correct me that we don't have. We have a person that does a lot of media, and she calls individual musicians and the food trucks that come. But other than that, this was like, I think one of the most active years we had for doing stuff like that. So people are dabbling, but such a busy time when you're a vendor and coordinating all those things, it's hard to do it all. So
right. What Karen's saying is right. The only other one that I can think of is we did have different sports teams come down and hang out and sign autographs and stuff. The one for certain that I know is the baseball team here in Minot. And I thought we had the hockey players there once too. But those are the only other ones that I can think of.
I'm gonna take a little bit of a unrelated question. How was the Visa tour at Minot? Because I heard about it and then I was like very curious. I know they stopped by Red River Market too, and I'm just very curious. So how did that go?
Are you asking me?
Either of you. And if you don't want to
Okay.
share, that's okay. I
would love to share because I like to talk. Let's see. We, of course, like Karen said, have never had a sponsor before. So we were completely unprepared. We didn't really know what they were going to do. They came in and they took up like a double-sided lot thing, and they built houses, it seemed like, right there where they were, and they opened it up on both sides because we've got 3 rows, and they had like ants. They had like people working like ants all over the place building these things. And then lo and behold, when Farmers Market opened, all of those people that were helping to build were handing out bags and talking to all of our customers. And I didn't even find out until the market was close to being done that each one of those bags had a Visa gift card in it that can be used anywhere, including at our stands. It was way different, but in the moment at the farmers market, when you're busy selling, you don't have time to look up and see anything that's going on. So it was different. I really enjoyed having them down there though.
Okay. All right.
And it was one of our slower days too. So it wasn't, I don't know if they had expectations of the amount of people that should have been there, because we usually have higher numbers on a day like that, but it was a lot slower market that day. So I don't even know how many people actually showed up to the Wednesday lunch that they had.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, thank you. I was curious. Jessica, I know you guys haven't had a market, but if you want to talk about people, or I know you talked about partnering with like the podiatry clinic to host it.
Yep. So that was one idea that we were initially going to do, and they aren't doing those clinics because of COVID, obviously. We also looked at the Spirit Lake Tribe does a community cleanup week where they go to different communities and hand out, trash bags and free lunches and prizes for people if they clean stuff up. So we were going to try and partner with them. And now we are working with our food distribution center to have a farmer's market there, and hopefully do that on a day when they're doing some of more of their distribution, so that we can kind of piggyback on that. So
Okay. Caleb, do you want to talk about your community partners?
Yeah, so we have had like one sponsorship this year. It was Altru, which kind of fits really well with them being healthy. I think that another one that would be nice would be UND, but I know they're kind of restricted in what they can do with COVID and everything, because they're not trying to get shut down, because we've got like a large amount of like student presence that ends up showing up for the farmers market. So I think that would be cool, like if we did like farmers market in the quad or something, we had like some special event for it. That would be interesting, as well as maybe partnering with natural grocers or having them be a sponsor or something, because they are in town in Grand Forks. But beyond that, I couldn't really think of any more off the top of my head.
Okay. All right, Kaya, you want to talk about your partners, community partners, I should say?
We have a lot, and I actually pulled up our website because I couldn't even think of all the people, but the biggest one, or the most helpful, I'd say, is we use Livewire for sound and audio. So I guess one of our sponsors, they do either provide, I don't know if they provide the service for free or if it's drastically reduced priced, but since we have live music and such a wide, we take up 2 blocks, so we have the music projected on speakers throughout the market, so they're a big help. We got a couple banks. yeah, the CVB, the Convention Visitors Bureau for Fargo Moorhead, West Fargo. And then our venue itself is a sponsor, so Broadway Square, which is our new entertainment area downtown. But I guess, honestly, I don't even know who else I would even reach out to. But one big thing is part of my one post of my 7-day social media post is like thanking a sponsor. So we'll get a sponsor quote and then we'll put that as the caption and just do like a thank you to our partners. And we don't really use the word sponsor because Instagram will see the word sponsor and flag it and, you know, put it into that promotion arena. So we use a lot of partners, and the wording matters, I guess. So yeah, we have a lot, but they're all beneficial. So
Yeah, I want to add that like filling out some of that stuff we talked about earlier, the map or like the USDA directory for farmers markets is a really good way, because there are organizations that want to partner with you that maybe like just having your information out there, having it clear what you do, like a clear expectation of what your market looks like, can really be helpful for someone who is like a small, again, even like a kids group or a community nonprofit who wants somewhere to, you know, kind of go and talk and get the word out about whatever they're doing. That's just having that information out there is helpful. But it's obviously only half of it, because you do have to actively go out and talk to people and recruit people and ask them to support you, which is I think the harder part. And the video I have for your homework this week, fundraising for farmers markets, was a session we did for last year's internship program, that talks a lot about kind of that awkward process of going to a business or a local group and just asking them for support, because it can be like a not super fun experience, but just he has some like suggested wording and ways to go about it so that you can really ask that group what they want to get out of it, and then your expectations for what you want to get out of it, and it can be beneficial for both of you guys. So we'll be talking about that not next week, but we'll check in about that the week after. The last thing that I wanted to bring to your guys' kind of attention about doing partnerships with farmers markets and, you know, community groups is this page from the Farmers Market Coalition. And it's a little older. This is like 10 years old now, but I like this article that kind of talks about, this is not the article that I thought it was. Okay. I'll link this document in your portal. I just haven't updated it yet. This one is like a little bit more of a manual. So I think it's a little more helpful for if you're looking for a specific, you know, part of it, and you can kind of go through and look at, they have ideas for community partners. So some stuff that people might not think of, and whether you choose to engage these groups or not is going to depend on the fit of your market. So if you are like comfortable with, you know, like a government group or a faith-based organization, or whether you'd like to just keep it, you know, to maybe like a community or arts group is pretty like maybe a little more easygoing. So you can choose who you want to partner with, but businesses, I think, are gonna be the first one that you would want to approach, especially small and local businesses and businesses that are geographically close to your market. So yeah, if you are in the parking lot of or near a parking lot of a business, like partnering with them so that they know there's going to be people walking through, and you might have increased traffic on Saturday mornings, but how can that be helpful to them rather than like annoying, you know, and trying to be proactive about that relationship with that group. So maybe there's a coffee shop nearby, and you know, you suggest people go there before the market, and then people end up going to the coffee shop and then coming to the market. And so that type of stuff, even flyers and posters with nearby businesses, and just kind of trying to build a relationship. The government section is what I think of, you know, like with Kristine is talking about that local foods map and trying to be proactive about your communication, that they're here to help, especially in rural areas of North Dakota. I think people have a negative association with the Department of Agriculture, or they think, like she mentioned, that they are trying to get in their business or shut them down, when really we just, you know, we want to be sharing our information and just, you know, being really proactive about that communication. So having them, yeah, send materials or come and talk or give you flyers or whatever it is. Schools and educational institutions are great for a couple reasons. So if it's a elementary school, I think it's great because when you get kids to come to your market, you're not just bringing children, you're bringing their parents or their grandparents or their friends. And there's a lot of people involved with that child who are also going to show up. And then colleges is also a whole other demographic that if you have a college in your town, events that are community oriented and free to attend are going to be popular with college students as well. And then nonprofits or faith-based organizations, these would be maybe someone who would be interested in doing a booth at your market, and it can be similar to a relationship that you would have with a business, where maybe they'll put up a flyer at their organization, or like local food banks a lot of times will, you know, maybe partner with them to do a food drive or something like that. Health organizations, especially like hunger groups and things like that. And then obviously your customers. So I am gonna quickly go through the rest of this, and then I will link it so you guys can read through it. But again, this kind of talks about data, and that goes back to just making sure that your information is out there so that people can find you and that they can learn about your market and what it does and why it matters. Having a mission statement so that people also can see why your market is relevant to them. So if it is a food bank and you have something in your mission statement about healthy food, they're gonna be able to relate to that. I keep going through here. I think this is a lot of the stuff that we've gone over throughout the course of the class so far. Community volunteers is another way that we oftentimes, I think, people think of volunteering and community partnerships as two separate things, but if you really consider them two halves of the same thing, it can really help. So maybe a business wants a group volunteering activity, like a larger business in town. A lot of times like hospitals will do this. So they'll have like on, for example, Labor Day weekend, they'll have like a volunteer weekend at Sanford Health or whatever it is. And then if you can connect with them and get a group of volunteers to come help with market that day, then they're getting their name out there, and then you are getting volunteers and you're building a relationship with them. And using volunteering to bring people into the market in not making them feel like you're just using them for free labor, but really making that like a meaningful and fun experience to connect with their community. And this just has a table that can be used just for quick reference that I think is helpful. And it goes into a little bit more detail. So it talks about, you know, advocacy, communication, fundraising, operations, and board of directors. So yeah, some of these like Chamber of Commerce or those downtown business associations can be helpful partners in kind of the support side, kind of breaks it down for government and some of the ways that I think this is just helpful to read through on ways that are kind of non-traditional things that you might not think of as community partners. So like you said, a lot of you guys partner with a few people, but really building that out and kind of having more ways for people to engage with their community. So the rest of this, I'm not going to go through, but it does the same thing again for each of those categories that we talked about in a little bit more detail. So I'm not going to read through all of these, but just lots of ideas for you guys and something to kind of start. I think a good way to start is to just start making a list of the groups in your community. So take those categories that they have here, schools, and then list universities that you have in town, and then maybe a possible idea of someone you have to partner with, and use connections that you have and people that you already know. So if you graduated or you attend a university, maybe a group that you're a part of, like, you know, you're part of the sustainability club and they want to come help at the market, or you're part of even like trying to think of clubs right now and I can't, but even things that you might not traditionally think of as farmers market related can find someone or something in common with the market. Okay, I just feel like I talked at you guys for a little while. So does anyone have questions or thoughts about what we just kind of went over? Okay, I have one last question that you don't have to answer, but is there any groups that came to mind just now as we went over it that you hadn't thought of before?
I think in university is like getting Greek life in, because I know they have to acquire so many hours to stay in the organization. And there's so many to choose from, especially in Grand Forks and Fargo.
Yeah, and I think in general, like groups within groups. So like partnering with UND or NDSU might not be feasible because that's a giant organization, or like, yeah, a hospital, like partnering with a hospital probably is not, I mean, if you could get that partnership, that's like super awesome for your farmers market, but breaking it down into something like a sorority or a club or a group within that is going to probably be the best option for your market.
Yeah, I actually just learned about there's like a community garden or like a gardening group within UND that they were like trying to get people to join. So I'm sure that would be a good person to.
That is everything I have for you guys today. I have linked in the portal the USDA Farmers Market Directory, the North Dakota Local Foods Map, and then a video for you guys to watch about fundraising for farmers markets. So I have that all up, and even if you just share those links with your market manager, I think it's just good to kind of make sure that all of that is up there and updated, and this is a good opportunity to do it. And I'll make sure to link the document we just went over as well. And then make sure before next time we meet on the 13th, that you watch the 2 cooking demonstration videos as well. And those ones are, I think they're like 5 minutes long. So, all right. That's everything I have. Thanks for joining us. I'll make sure to get the rest of those resources up, and I'll send out some more information on the local foods map as well. You guys have a great week and a great week after that, because I won't see you.